Good morning, class. Today is Thursday, August 27th, the second day of school. I hope you guys got some good rest last night and had some fun exploring on Seesaw yesterday. Today, we are going to start place value. So to get started, you'll need a pencil, maybe a marker if you want to use a marker, and you don't have to have one. I will be showing you the lesson in a marker just so you can see it better than pencil. Then you'll also need your math spiral, like what you put your cover on yesterday. Okay, so today's goal by the end of the lesson is that you can recognize place value and that you can compose and decompose numbers to 100,000. So at the end of today's lesson, I want you guys to be able to understand our place value system and how we represent numbers in different ways. Okay? So the first thing we want to do in our math spiral, you should have done a warm-up already from yesterday. Now what we're going to do is take about half of our notebook, split it in half. This first half is going to be for all of our warm-ups that you do at the beginning of math. The second half is where we're going to start the notes section. So anytime I ask you to take notes and follow along or put something in your notebook other than your warm-up, it's going to go in the back half. Okay? I've put a sticky note there. You can just take your paper and fold it down like this if you don't have any sticky notes at home. And this will just be your divider from the front half to the second half. Okay? So today, we're going to start by turning our spiral. And we're in the back half for notes. And you want to turn it this way. We're going to make a place value chart so we can start putting numbers in there and showing the relationship between each place. Okay, and just leave about 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay, once you get that drawn, we're going to start labeling. Okay, so this first place is going to be your ones. Then you have your tens, hundreds, and you should be labeling along with me and recording this in your notebook just like I am. Now once you get to the hundreds, we add a comma. So there's going to be a comma here. And this would be our thousands, ten thousands, and hundred thousands. Okay? So you should notice there is 3 spaces here. 3 spaces here. Does anybody see a pattern? Well, you should see a pattern. You have ones, tens, hundreds. This is your 1,000s, 10,000s, and 100,000s. So the place values are kind of the same. We just added thousands at the end of it. Okay? Now let's go ahead and add the definition of place value. So down here at the bottom, we're going to write place value. Now what that means is the position of a digit in a number Okay, so we have these positions. the digit can have different values depending on which position it is in. And so we need to add that to our definition too. Each position or place gives digits different values. Values just means how much it is worth. Okay, so let's look at an example. If I have the number 2 and I put it in the tens place, then that 2 is not the same as if I put it in the ones place. The value should change. 2 ones is just 2. 2 tens is worth 20. It's like if your mom handed you 2 $1 bills, and you have $2. If your mom hands you 2 $10 bills, well, you don't have $2, you have $20. Okay? So the value of this 2 changes depending on what place it is in. Okay? Same thing, if I have an 8 and I put it in the hundreds place, then it is now worth 800. If I just have the 8 by itself in the ones place, it is worth 8. Okay? So the value of the digit will change depending on what place we put it in. Okay? Now what about a 0? A 0 is a little bit different. If I have 0 ones, well, that's just 0. If I have 0 tens, that's still 0. So 0 is the only one, no matter where you put it, it's still going to have the same value. Okay? 0 is always just going to be 0. Okay, next we're going to look at some numbers, and I want to practice putting them in your place value chart correctly, reading them correctly, and then we're going to go into you telling me how much a digit is worth in that place, or what place it's in. Okay, so the first number I want to look at is 6,034. So if I want to put this in my place value chart, we start with the 4 in the ones, 3 in the tens, 0 hundreds, and 6 thousands. Okay? So let's practice reading this. We would say 6,000. When you get to the comma, that's when you say thousand. After the comma, you're just going to read this like you would normally read it. Okay? So I could cover this up, and what's left is 34. So I would say 6,034. That is our number. Okay? Now, what place is the 3 in? The 3 would be in the tens place. Okay? Next number. So let's practice putting this in our place value chart. The 7 would go in the ones. There's 0 tens, 2 hundreds, 5 thousands. So let's practice reading this. 5,000. Now after the comma, we're just going to read this number exactly how it would be read if it were all by itself. It's 207. Okay, so let's combine that. 5,000, remember the comma is where you say thousand, 207. Okay, next one. Here's my next number. Let's put it in our place value chart. So the 8, 1, 4, 7, and 9. Okay, now we're going to practice reading that number. Now you should be saying this along with me if you're at home watching this. I want you to be reading these numbers with me. Okay, So before the comma, I see a 9 and a 7. If I put those together, I would say 97. So we would say 97,000 when you get to that comma. And then after the comma, I see a 4, 1, and an 8. So I put those together as 418. 97,418. Okay? The last one, let's put this in our place value chart. 6, 3, 1, 8, 2. Don't forget your comma. Okay, now let's practice reading it. Before the comma, I see a 2 and an 8, so I would read that as 28. Okay, then when you get to the comma, you're going to say 1,000, so that would be 28,136. Okay, now let's look at some of these digits. I see a 1 here and a 1 here. Are they worth the same? No, because they have two different place values. This one is in the tens place. This one is in the hundreds place. So since I have 100, that is going to be greater than 110. Okay? What about the 6 and the 1s and the 6 and the thousands? Do they have the same value? No. 6 1s is like only getting 6 $1 bills. $6. If somebody gives you 6 thousands, that's worth $6,000. Okay? So 6 in the thousands place is a lot greater than 6 in the ones place. Okay? So place value has to do with the digits being in a different position. When they're in different positions, then those digits now become worth a different amount. Okay? Now I'm going to give you some new numbers. And I want you to practice reading these out loud at home, okay? And when you practice, I'm going to be calling on you in the Zoom meeting that we're going to have later, and I want you to be able to read these numbers out loud to me correctly, okay? So we have this is kind of your challenge one. Bunch of zeros in there. So that would be your challenge question when we Zoom together on practicing reading numbers. Okay? Now let's go back to our place value chart. And we're going to add another definition. I hope you left enough room down here at the bottom because we're going to add expanded form. Okay? Expanded form means you are writing a number to show the value of each digit. Okay? So now that's what we're going to practice next. We're going to take these numbers that we put in our place value chart and expand them. Okay? So I can flip to the next page. let's start with our first number, 6,034. And we're going to expand it. Okay, you can flip back to your place value chart, but I'm going to pull this one up so you can see 6,034. So that means my first digit is going to be a 6 in the thousands place. And then 3 in the tens place. And 4 in the ones. Okay, so remember, expanded form means we're going to show this number by writing the value of each digit. And one more important thing is you're not just writing the value of each digit, you're going to put a plus sign in between each of those values, okay? So let's start with the thousands place because that's where our first digit is. Well, if I have 6 in the thousands place, then that is worth 6,000. So what you would do is start with a 6, and then every place after that becomes a 0 because this value is 6,000. So you would end up with 3 zeros. Put your plus sign, and now we go to the next place, the hundreds. Well, I have no hundreds. If you have a 0, that means the value is just 0. We don't need to put that down. So if you ever have a 0, you don't have to put that in expanded form. Okay, so we just skip it. We go to the tens place. I have 3 tens. So if I have 3 tens, that is going to be worth, well, let's skip count. We can skip count my tens 3 times. That would be 10, 20, 30. So we would write the value as 30. Put a plus sign, and now we go to the next digit. We have 4 in the ones place. So 4 ones would just be 4 by itself. Okay? So we just wrote 6,034 in expanded form. Okay? Let's go to our next digit, or our next number. 5,207. Okay, so we have 5 thousands, 2 hundreds, 0 tens, and 7 ones. And we're going to expand it. So we're going to start in the greatest place that we have, which is the thousands place. I have 5,000, so that is a value of 5,000. Okay, don't forget your plus sign. And now we go to the 2. It is in the hundreds place. So a 2 in the hundreds place is worth 200. So we would write 200, 2 zeros, plus sign. Okay, I have another 0. So who remembers what we do if there's a 0? If you said, well, we skip it because it has no value, then you're correct. Anytime you see a 0, you can skip it in your place value or your expanded form. Okay, so go on to the next one. We have 7 in the ones place. 7 in the ones place means 7 ones has a value of 7. Okay? Next one. So we're going to expand 28,136. You can look back at your place value chart that you wrote it down in and see what place each digit is in. there's my next number. 28,000, that should be a 136. Okay, now we're going to expand it. I'm going to start with the 2 this time, and it's in the 10,000s place. So 2 10,000s. That would actually mean it is worth 20,000, because if you count by tens, because this is the 10,000s place, we would say 10, 20, and that would be 20,000. So how you can write that is start by putting your 2 down, and a little trick is to just change every other place value to a 0. So I should end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros after the 2. Okay, now don't forget your plus sign, and we go to the 8 next. 8 is in the thousands place, so I would write 8,000. You can also check, there's 1, 2, 3 places after, so I should have 3 zeros after the 8. Okay, now we go to the next digit. There's 1 in the hundreds place. Well, that means this is worth 100. So we put 100 next. 3 in the tens. We could skip count if we want to, so that would be 10, 20, 30. So 30 comes next. And the last one, 6 ones, just means it is worth 6. Okay, and last, I want you guys to go ahead and just pause the video, and I want you to try to expand this one on your own. When you unpause the video, you can check to see if your answer was correct. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and put this in my place value chart. 97,000. $400. $18. Okay, so make sure you're looking at that number in your place value chart when you try to expand it by yourself. And we're going to start with a 9 in the 10,000s place. Okay, well, what is the value of that 9? It is worth 90,000. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting a 9, and then every other place after becomes a 0. So that should be 0, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just a little trick to make sure I'm including all the zeros. That way it ends up being the correct value, 90,000. Next we go to the thousands place. I have 7 thousands, so the value of that would be 7,000. How many zeros should I have? Well, there should be 1, 2, 3 after the 7. Don't forget your comma. Okay, next I'm going to the hundreds place, and I have 4. 4 hundreds has a value of 400. Tens, 110 would just be worth 10. And last, 8 in the ones place is 8. Okay. I hope this video helps you understand expanded form, and I hope this last problem you were able to get on your own. Make sure you have practiced and written all of these in your notebook, in your math notebook, and be ready to share what you've learned today in our Zoom meeting, okay? If you have any questions, you can have those written down and ready to ask me in the Zoom meeting also. Okay, I will see you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.